On the 26th of December, I get a text message from my boss that said, Carol, please check your Gmail. So I was 3 weeks into a new job, and to my shock, I got a letter that said termination of contract. I did a U-turn because I was on my way to Nairobi. I did a U-turn and I went back home and I told my folks, I told my family, hey, kazi imeisha. Kimeumana. I have 2 children, 2 sons that I single-handedly bring up. And I had a loan that I was servicing. Nairobi imetuonyesha moto bwana, because that loan I had acquired to buy some plots somewhere in Ruai, 2 of them, each for my son. And it was somewhere Ruai sewage. So there was nothing. So technically I purchased hot air. And then I was left with a loan to service. And here is a job that is gone. And here are my 2 children. What? So there was no time to feel sorry for Nyambura. Nyambura lazima angeoga na arudi soko. So I came back to Nairobi. At that time, still I had a house somewhere there, Pongong Road. And I had some little savings. Around this time, the real estate business was also booming in this country. And I am a lover of beautiful spaces, or so I think. And I also wanted a piece of the pie. So tamimi nikaingia into that soko. And I went to school. I registered this small business that was called Marula Moldings because I just wanted to do moldings and space. I mean, just bringing life into spaces. I went for classes, for painting classes. I can paint. And, well, I never got any gig. Nothing came my way. Now, around this time, a friend of mine, her name is Anne, she told me that she has this friend of hers who lived in China, and that he would be such a great resource, so that he could be sending me all these things, new products and all that. I was like, yeah, it's such a fantastic idea. So I went ahead and I met this guy, and it turned out that it's a guy I went to school with in uni. And the conversation went like, hey, ulienda wapi? Where did you disappear to? And he told me that he went to China and he's now a teacher. You? I mean, like we, business students, like we graduated in business class. And now he's a teacher and, well, I couldn't understand that whole thing. And I told him why I was there. He really insisted that I could make a great teacher. Me? No. So because in a business class, you're taught how to be consistent and resilient if you want to, for results. So me, I was like, apana, I just started this and I'm not leaving. My younger sister had just finished college and she was like, Silva, si nataka beba mtu go with her. So that is how my sister ended up in China before me. Now, here I am 2 months down the line. Hey, kimewaka moto, I had to move now from Nairobi back to the village officially. And I had to think, because here are my 2 children who are totally dependent on me. My sister, now she's in China, she's settling, and she's like, kubaya sana, wenda ukuje. I was like, yes, I come, yes. So that is how I found myself going back to China. But this time, I'm so broke, I have nothing. My maternal uncle, a brother to my mom, paid for my ticket, a return ticket, and off I went to China. The very first time I got to Bayun, I lost my passport. Those of you that have been to China, you know how difficult it is for you to navigate without your documents. After 30 days, Nairobi. China kutafuta kazi, I was like, what are you going to tell people? So anyway, I just didn't care. But then when I was there, I realized that it is such a wonderful place and you can make a living. So I came back, I processed my new passport, paid legal fees, I did a visa, but then I didn't have a ticket. I have Varela who works for an airline. So I got a buddy pass. Around this time, the Chinese embassy, the immigration was not very advanced like it is now. So what we used to do is that we used to send our passports to the agent in Kenya. And he would do whatever it is that he used to do on our behalf, and he would send us the passports back. So around this time, the Chinese government said, no, you need to present yourself like in person. Whew. I had to come back to Kenya again. But this time, remember, I only had a one-way ticket. Yes, I called a friend of mine, his name is Eric, and I was like, Eric, send me a ticket, usiniulize maswali. I am coming back home, and I'm coming back home tomorrow. Eric is a gracious man. He sent me the ticket. And soon, Nairobi. At that time, I was so frustrated. I was so exhausted. I did not even want to see that Kenyan passport. I almost threw it away at JKI. So I came back straight, the village. And when I was still thinking about my next course of life, a friend of mine approached me and she was like, yo, there's a shamba. I have a shamba somewhere. Sit when they took a limia. Also, this time, these digital farmers, they are there, and every other person is, I'm in the office, like in this kasato, I have a kashake somewhere, I have to go and, And it was very attractive. So we got trying, and we couldn't do the tomatoes, we couldn't do the onions, because it was a very expensive venture. So we did cabbages, 6 acres of cabbages. So God was gracious, because we sold our first lorry, we sold our second lorry, and I remember it was on a Sunday. A broker called me. You know, now you sell these things through brokers. A broker called me, and I was going to the church. No, please make a turn around and come to the shamba, okay? So I went, I met the guy, and this is a crop, I'm interested. See, kesho is a Monday. See, we patana on a Monday. So on that Monday, I went to that shamba. And ladies and gentlemen, I sat down and I cried. And I asked God so many questions on why he was hell-bent on punishing me. What wrong had I done? Or was I the 4th generation that was paying for the transgressions of my ancestors? I looked at that shamba, I was like, God, no, you can't. Do you even exist? Now, on that Sunday night, a herd of elephants had a whole night of enjoying, and feasting, and there was nothing. All that work, there was nothing. No money, literally no hope. There was nothing. There was nothing to even look forward to. So, around this time also, I was talking to a friend of mine, and Monica had me say that I am transferring my children from an expensive school to a public school. I mean, like, I had to, kimeumana. I couldn't afford. Monica gave me 100,000 shillings. Okay, and now, around this time now, my sister, she's there, she settled, she's rolling, she's balling. Akaniambia, you go come, ata kuna kazi. I mean, it was that easy to find work in China. You go come, there's work. Even the school I'm working, they are looking for an extra teacher. You come. So I went back to China. Now, during that time, I had the best time of my life, because I even got a job. I was teaching English in an international school, and science. Never mind that I failed in sciences. In this life, you can be anything that you so purpose to be. I was teaching them science. Where I was staying, my apartment block was surrounded by so many small industries, very many cottage industries, and I was on the third floor. So from my back corridor, I used to see these Chinese people, and I mean, it was so admirable, whatever it is that they were doing. There's one who used to do cartons, there's another one who was doing bubble films, there's another one who was doing scissors, the molds for the scissors, and another one was doing the twines, the ligatures, ile kakamba ya kufunga. And all of them used to feed into a bigger factory. And for me, that was so admirable. On the other hand, my people from Kenya, like Karo, hizi viatu naona wakiuza huku tunaweza pata. I mean, I used to die 1,000 deaths because I was really hoping that my people would just ask me for these small machines, something that will add value, something for processing, something for manufacturing. But that never used to happen. And I was here for my winter holiday, the Chinese New Year, and COVID came. Initially, it wasn't like COVID. It was nikitu tu itaisha, I mean, this is just a passing cloud, and I'm here, I'm just waiting for it to kwisha, and I go back to work. So COVID came and COVID stayed. Pesa ikaisha. So I came, the village now, and I decided to start my first small industry, my first cottage industry, and I called it the Village Flower Now. Yes, so that one, and we were doing unga for uji porridge. Remember, it is during COVID, so there was no much happening. And I did it, and I had customers because I was leveraging on the power of technology, on the power of social media, and I would find customers from my timeline. But then it became very difficult to sustain that business, and I had to stop it for 3 reasons. Number one, lack of a last mile delivery partner. Like, I am in Nyahururu. How do I get my unga to you in Nairobi, to you wherever it is that you are, at the least possible cost in the most efficient way? Because I used to send via matatu, I don't know about that guy, and by the time it gets to you, it used to be very expensive. That was number one. Number two, very high MOQs for packaging solutions. Now, your unga is worth 20,000 shillings, but then you walk into Muindi, I mean, they're the ones who do this big printing, this packaging and all that, and he tells you, if you don't have 300K, if you don't have 200,000 shillings, there's nothing we are doing because you need different SKUs, I don't know, we need to run and all that. So ultimately, the packaging became too expensive. And the third reason why I had to stop was government regulations, cabs, I don't know, health, I don't know, licenses and all that. And I was like, you know what, to hell. Anyway, my job is still waiting for me. Na tunaongelelea story ya mashilingi. I was never interested. Yes. So, but before I totally left, on IG, on Insta, I used to see these Kenyan brands, and it was so admirable, having a Kenyan brand to your name. Hey, to me, that has been everything that I've always wanted to be or to do. And I could see these people, and I knew they existed. I just did not know where these people were. So I went to Facebook. Specifically, I was looking for anything made in Kenya, cottage industries, whatever, and I found nothing. Actually, I just got 3 hits. And number one was Terian Chebet. At that time, she was running the 100 days of made in Kenya brands, so she populated the first. Number 2 was my friend Patricia Okello, because of our cottage industries and what she does with Kayana. Number 3 was a guy called Steve G. He's also a friend of mine. So I was like, I can as well do a community and invite these people. And I created a group on Facebook that has since grown to about 22,000 people. We pinned that story there, your cottage industries up. Now, inaendelea on its own. Here I am, mine has died. And here I am purporting to support people there who are doing their businesses. I suffer cold feet. I went to that group and I did ask who can make some socks. some woolen socks, za mikono. I mean, they looked nice, and very cozy, indoor shoes. And people in that group, instead of telling me who was making that, they would ask how much, where to find. Please tell us how much. Why are you ignoring us? Like, you mean people can buy these things? Huh? So I went ahead and I got the first knitter for the giving. And we did our very first pair. It was a gray pair of indoor socks. I used to wear it. Mama yangu akiipata hivi anaiona, anavuka nayo, she would hide it. And then if my sister sees it, she would also hide it. I mean, it was warm and I super loved it. And I had to make for all of them, and my auntie came and she gave me an order of 3 pairs of socks. I was like, hey, I had my minimum viable product. So this thing can work. Now, there's something I had not factored in. For this pair of socks to be complete, it needed about 2 or 3 days, depending on whatever it is that the knitter is doing. If she's busy, it can even take 3 days. So I realized that I needed extra manpower. So I did ask Margaret, she's our supervisor. Margaret, kuna wamama wengine wanaweza shona. Wamama ni wengi, ndakutafutia. So she went and she preached and she got women. So that is how the Githi Handmade was born, and that is how we started. Thank you. Now, sina pesa kusustain our mama. I realized that I needed about 7,000 to 9,000 shillings daily, because I do provide the raw materials and I pay them a fair wage for the work done. Hey! And it was difficult. I remember at that time you would come to me and make an order for the socks, and I would block you. Why I used to do that is because you're the same people. Mutaenda pale kwa ile group, and you will say she's a hoax. Apana, there is no way, I cannot allow that. So you would make an order, I don't know, an inquiry, can you make these? Aha, you're interested, I block you. For the people that I blocked, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I started to give up. But then I was not giving up in totality, because a friend of mine called Billy. Billy called me, Billy validated me, and Billy told me, Nyambura, if there's something I know you will not do, ni kukula pesa ya mtu, ni kukula pesa ya watu. How do you know? I don't know, I just know you. I know you won't. It's like, hey, pesa. It's like, well, let us try it out. By the time I was done with that phone call, I had already envisioned my crowdfunding campaign. I called the Postmaster General. So I went to his office, one woman army. I went to his office, nikamkuta hapo na battalion yake hapo, ameniwekea, kaambia, here I am. I need your support. Yes, shoot Nyambura. I'm running my crowdfunding campaign and I need a last mile delivery partner. And I want very highly discounted rates. Apana, that one is not possible. Nyambura, we are a government organization. We cannot do da. So, ladies and gentlemen, I left that room with a discounted rates for last mile delivery partner and a credit period of 90 days. So I was like, yes, iyo tumetoboa. The next thing I needed to hack was the packaging, because there's no way I can sell you the Githi and I bring it to you looking like, in a horrible way. So I had to make these boxes, but then I had to look for somebody who will give me very low MOQs all the way na nyuki. And I got someone and the boxes are ready. Haya. Around this time, there's a guy, his name is David. David had started calling me and he was like, no, Nyambura, I want you to be a guest speaker for our event. And the theme of the event is business resilience during the pandemic. No. So he tried once, he tried twice, and I blocked the guy, and ultimately he sent a proxy. And I told him, sio kukataa. He was like, no, Nyambura, everybody has a price. Can you please say what it is that you want? I'm like, oh no, sio hivyo. It's because I'm launching my crowdfunding campaign on the 1st of July, 2021. He was like, what? What you have said. Let me just show you the lineup. These are the people, the other speakers in the panel, and hawa wote wanakuja kutupatia theory. From what you have spoken about a crowdfunding campaign, you're the only person who is doing, the theme of the event practically, because you're showing people how to raise capital for their businesses out of the traditional ways that we know. Nyambura, everybody has a price. Please show up. Nikwambia mimi siwezi patikana kwa sababu me I'm busy. I am organizing because I need to launch on the 1st of July. Now listen, this is what I'll give you. I'll give you a venue. The Siankiki Hotel in Nanyuki, I'll give you that venue. I will give you media coverage to speak about your crowdfunding campaign. I will give you a whole tent to yourself because you're the star of the event. And of course, ndakuweka kwa hoteli mzuri hapo na ndakupatia tu pesa kwa mfuko. Surely hata kama ungekataa. When I was starting that crowdfunding campaign, I told God, listen, I know you're there. If really you want this thing to happen, imagine just take that wheel. Me, I'm not going to struggle in any way. And I want you to open doors for me. And God did exactly that. So I was just a phone call. Everything is happening. Just a done. Phone call, done. Haya, hizo zote nikapata, uzi nimepata. Sina wa mama wa kushona. And now the days are getting, the launch day is getting nearer, and I still don't have the product. Nikaenda nikakuta wa mama. Wengine sasa sababu wale nilikuwa na deni yao. You know the initial group. Na deni yao kwanza wako ni pin. I'll come back to you. So I went and I formed another group. And I told these wa mama, listen. It's from my home area, so they know me. They're like, sasa nimepata order. A very big order in America. Mutashona, ndiyo, wamama walishona. Lakini nani deni. I'm not paying you now, but then please allow me to go to Nanyuki. I sell, and then I'm coming back to sort you. They call me teacher. Ni sawa mwalimu, ni sawa teacher. So I had the product, I had the venue, I had everything that I needed to launch our crowdfunding campaign, which we did. And on that day, we sold 62,000 shillings. Thank you. Nikalipa wale wa mama, na hata wao. And I told them, now it has just started, be ready. Mama, they listened to me, and I'm eternally grateful, for that grace. And that is how the Givi Handmade started. We started with a crowdfunding campaign. We normally have this conception that online sellers will defraud you. So I found people who are willing to send me money. And our first Baka sent me 15,000 shillings. She's here, Rispa. And I always give her story because I couldn't have imagined that somebody could have bought socks worth 15,000 shillings. So Rispa sent me 15,000 shillings. And December that year, she sent me more money. This woman, what does she want with me? God is doing it for you, and here you are questioning God why he's doing it. This woman, she wants my kidney. Anapeleka wapi hizi vitu, and she turned out to be such a wonderful, wonderful person, and for that, Rispa, we are eternally grateful, because it was for people like you, and I know I have my clients here, it's just that I cannot see you, but I know you're here. We are eternally, eternally grateful, because what your purchase has been able to do to our community, we support 79 women, And amongst them, we have women who live with disabilities. There's a lady, yes, one particular lady, she cannot walk, and she totally depends on your purchasing. She totally depends on Dogedi. And they always come to me and they tell me stories. Teacher, sasa unajua, I have even roofed my house. I'm like, oh my goodness, it is so heartwarming. I've been able to plaster my house. I've been able to take my children to school. And it's all because of you, Kenyans, because you have purposed to support. And thank you. And tonight I am here to tell you that if you want to be given, if you want to receive, you have to be prepared to give. Each and every one of you here is ready and has a Billy. My Billy is not your Billy. Your Billy is out there waiting for you. But then for your Billy to find you, for the principle of metaphysics to work, you have to give. And by giving, it doesn't need to be financial. It doesn't need to be your resources. You could give your time. How often do you look out? How often do you call someone that you haven't spoken to in a very long while? Billy called me to validate me. If it wasn't for that validation from Billy, I don't think I would be here today. I don't think, I'll probably be teaching. And how often do you get out of your comfort, out of your space to reach out to somebody that you think genuinely needs you? Just getting that phone call and you're like, hey, Agatha, I super love Engage. You're doing a fantastic job. I super love it, and I will definitely buy some two or three tickets for the show. How often do you support somebody that you don't even know? Because you do not know what your support will do to them and how it is going to change their lives. Today, I am very happy to say that we have since increased in size in our programs for the giving. We had to register as a CBO, it's a community-based organization, and we are running 3 programs with different projects in there. We have the economic empowerment, hiyo ndio ile ya kushona socks, hiyo ya scarves and all that. We have since also ventured into Zero Hunger, and we have a program that is a village flour. Ile unga, ile flour, ile tulikuja tukarudisha, because it is still the same women who are doing it. And we have also gotten into climate action projects, and we are out there and we are seeking your support for our projects.